There are 3 oils that are very common in Vietnamese cuisine. Let me show you how to make them today. Okay, so for the shallot oil, of course we got to start with shallots. In Vietnam, we get these little guys. They're very pungent, strong flavor, but they're a pain in the butt to work with. But that's what I got. You can use whatever kind you want. I've done this technique with onions before when I didn't have shallots. It's okay. I prefer shallots, but onions will work if you can't find shallots either. First, we got to peel these little buggers. I wish I had some big secret to tell you on how to peel these quickly, but I got no secret. I prefer a bird's beak paring knife, but you can use whatever you want, and it's gonna take a while. If you're having a real hard time, soaking in hot water can help, although that may make you, may release some aromatics, so you might be crying a little bit more. This is fine. All right, that took a long time. All right, now we're gonna slice these things. When I'm slicing these shallots, you can use a knife, you can use a food processor if you want to chop them, but to me, slicing is better than chopped, and the best way to slice them is with a mandolin. It takes some time again, and you gotta be really careful, but that's what it is. So here we go. Keep my fingers out of the way. You don't want to cut them too thin. When I get to the bottom, when I get too nervous, I'm just gonna reserve that little trim, and I'll put that in the satay I'll make later. All right, no secret. Go as slow as you want, or as fast as you want. It's probably less than 1/4 of an inch. I don't know, maybe a millimeter or 2, I'm not sure. As long as they're consistent in size, it'll be fine. All right, there's a lot of slicing today. So I got a big old bowl of shallots here, not the biggest bowl. For how long that took me, it's not that big of a bowl. All right, I'm gonna save all the trim. I'm gonna put all the trim aside, and then we'll start frying these things. Okay, so before we start actually frying, we need to make sure we got everything we need, because when it happens quick. I got my pot I'm gonna fry in. Then I have a strainer and a pot that I'm gonna strain into, ready to go. You do not wanna be running around when you need it, because they will burn quick. I've never measured this before, but I'm gonna try to come up with a measurement for you today. So I have 1 bowl of shallots that comes right up to the leaf pattern on this bowl. I have the exact same bowl. So I'm gonna start with equal parts oil to equal parts shallot, and then we'll go from there. I think that's probably a good ratio, but we'll see. You can use whatever oil you want. Neutral is better. Preferably avocado oil is always good if you can afford it. Canola, vegetable oil, that all works too. I've never done it with pork fat, although that would probably be awesome. Maybe I'll do that next time. Oil's in the pan. I don't know exactly why, but other times when I tried to make this and I put the shallots in cold oil, sometimes the texture did not come out correctly. It didn't come out crispy, it came out more gummy. And every time I add the shallots to hot oil, it seems to always work for me. So I always make sure the oil is hot first. How hot? I don't know, around 300, 350. It doesn't really matter. Just hot enough that they sizzle when they get inside there. You don't want it smoking though. If you're using wooden chopsticks or have a wooden spoon, you can always do that test. Put the wood inside, see bubbles come up, and they are bubbling up. I'm gonna add my shallots. I just want to make sure I hear some kind of sizzle when they go down, and they are. Could have been a little bit hotter. This would probably be the coldest I would want it to be. Now I'm just gonna fry them slowly. This is gonna take a while. Maybe 15 minutes, could even be 20 minutes, and I'm gonna stir them while they cook. You wanna see something like this. You wanna see this frying action going on. You can see how many bubbles there are, how tight the bubbles are. As the water cooks out, you'll start to see that lessen. We're getting close though. All right, now we're really close. You can see the bubbles slow down. You have to be really careful with this. That once you strain them, they will continue to cook. So you have to pull them off when they're a little bit golden. If you pull them off at the color that you want, they will burn by the time they cool down. So you have to judge it a little bit. This is a nice color, light golden brown. They'll carry over to be a little bit darker. I gotta strain them right now. Okay. That's why I have my strainer ready to go. They look nice to me right now, lightly golden. I'm gonna spread them out a little bit just to help them cool quicker, but these should be good. Make sure the onions are not sitting in that oil or they will continue to carry over cooking. And I'm gonna just put these aside and let the shallots and the oil completely cool down. Once your shallots are completely cool, you have 2 options. I have my nice crispy shallots now, and I can store them separate from the oil, or I can just combine them. I just prefer to combine them. So my shallots are cool, my oil is cool. I can combine them in any kind of container you want. I find this easier. The shallots store better, and then you can leave this out or put it in the refrigerator. It doesn't matter. Because the shallots are covered in oil, you can do this room temperature. This will last for months. So although it may be a little bit of a pain in the butt to make, it takes some time. I always do a bigger batch, and this will probably last us 2 or 3 months easily. Well, I shouldn't say easily. This will probably last us 2 or 3 months. Super good. Garlic oil next. All right, let's make the garlic oil. So the garlic oil is gonna start much in the same way as the shallot oil did, which is by peeling a lot of garlic. So here we go. One really cool thing in Vietnam, they have this garlic, which is just like one giant clove. It's so cool. I love it. Easy to peel, good flavor. I get it every time, but it's very expensive. It's like triple the price of Western or normal garlic. So usually with the garlic, I'll chop, but with this garlic is so cool with these big cloves. I'm gonna slice it just like I did the shallots. So same exact process. And just like the shallot, I'll save my scraps, and then I'm gonna get these big garlic chips. It's gonna be so cool. Okay, so with the garlic, we're gonna follow the exact same process with the shallots. Hot oil, equal amounts oil to garlic or shallot, whatever you're frying at that time. That works out well. And strainer and something to strain into. Exactly the same process. So just like the shallots, we're gonna pull them off a little bit early because they will carry over. You can see how this is just like golden brown, and I'm nervous to go any darker. So with the garlic, just like with the shallot, once the garlic is completely cooled and the oil is completely cooled, I can store them separately or combine them. Again, I like to combine. Same with the shallots, this will last for months. I think the garlic chips look really cool. Practically, probably chopped garlic is more practical. But either way, this is great for the garnish, but maybe not. It won't get so spread out when you put it in salads or things like that. All right, let's move on to satay. Well, for the satay, we're gonna need some lemongrass. So here's some lemongrass. Of course, you can use frozen. Of course, it's not as good, but it'll work. I'm gonna run this lemongrass through a food processor, but first I'm gonna chop the lemongrass up a little bit to help the machine out. Anytime you're chopping lemongrass, personally for me, I always reach for the biggest chef's knife I have. It just gives you the most leverage. Chopping lemongrass can be a pain in the butt. This lemongrass is fresh, it makes it easier. My knife is heavy and big, it makes it easier. But if you try to cut it with a real thin, short knife, it can be difficult. The smaller you cut it now, the easier the food processor will have, taking it even further to really mince it. Of course, you can do this by hand the whole way. It's just hard, it's a pain in the butt. And as long as you cut it small, the food processor can handle it. You want to take this as fine as you can get it. This lemongrass is so fresh, it's so moist. Usually lemongrass is so dry. If I had a better food processor, I could probably get this a little bit smaller, but this will work. Satay means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, depending on where you're from. Satay for some people is like a really spicy chili mixture. Satay for some people is a grilled meat skewer. In Vietnam, when I think of satay, I think of a toasted lemongrass oil that is a little bit spicy. Not ridiculously spicy, but a little bit spicy. So to season and flavor our oil, besides for the lemongrass, I'm gonna use some garlic. I have 5 cloves and some little shallots here. 8 of these little baby shallots, or normal size shallots. Typically for chilies, when I'm in America, I love using habaneros. I think they're the best chili out there. Or the long finger chili, or dragon chili is another name, the long red ones. I don't have any here. Beyond that, I would use the Thai bird chilies. I don't have any of those here either. I have these little red guys, and they are freaking hot. And I have some dried ones. I don't know what they are. For me, this is gonna be a guesstimate. I'm not trying to make it super spicy. I'm just trying to have some heat. We'll see how it turns out. I think it'll be okay. So just like the lemongrass, I wanna mince this up. If your food processor is small enough, you could mince it in there or just do it by hand. I'm gonna do it by hand. But you wanna try to cut this the same size as the lemongrass or smaller. It should be easier to cut this small. Okay, that looks good. Of course, there's many different styles. Some people have it, some satays are pretty dry, some satays are very oily. It's up to you, it's up to the region that you're from or whatever you like. I have 2 cups of chopped lemongrass, and I find a good place is around equal parts oil. So I'm gonna do 2 cups of cooking oil, whatever kind you like. So oil is in the pan. I like having a good amount of oil because sometimes I'll just use the oil for certain things. So I like to have a good amount. A lot of times when you see satay, you may think it's very, very spicy due to the color. And some are spicy, but most of the color just comes from the annatto seed. So this is gonna be the same kind of thing as with the shallot and garlic oil. We wanna have a pan and a strainer ready to go. I have my small pot of oil. So in my pot of oil, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of annatto seed. Let's say 3, I'm going 3. And then we're gonna start frying the annatto. Just over low to medium-low heat, not too high. It can be a little bit hard to know when this is done because you'll see that when the oil starts to change color, it's hard to see the seeds themselves. But really, we're gonna pay attention to the color of the oil. We're gonna pay attention to the aroma, and we're gonna look at the seeds, and you kind of see the color almost come off the seeds. But it'll probably take about 5 minutes. They don't have that much flavor, but they have some aroma to them. Oil's starting to darken slightly. Okay, so this looks good. And I'm gonna just strain that right out. I can see that the seeds have lost all their color. They smell toasty. And now the seeds I'm gonna discard. That's trash. Now we can put our lemongrass straight in here and start frying our lemongrass. I tend to like to do this in a larger frying pan just so it's faster for the lemongrass to fry. Okay, so the lemongrass, we're gonna fry it until it's nice and toasty. The moisture's cooking out, but it's still quite wet. Still got a couple more minutes. Okay, so this looks good now. The lemongrass is toasted. It's very fragrant. I'm gonna add the garlic, the shallot, and the chili. About 3 tablespoons of sugar. About 2 teaspoons of MSG, and about 3 tablespoons of fish sauce. And by 3, I mean 4. Now we're gonna do the exact same process. Cook out all the moisture, and then toast the garlic, the shallot, and the chili. And through this kind of 2-stage process of like cooking out the moisture, toasting, adding more moisture, cooking out again, and toasting again, we just get more flavor. So again, this will take 10 minutes or something to cook out. And this time I'm just watching the garlic carefully, trying to get the garlic and the shallot just lightly golden brown. All right, so I just killed the heat. All the moisture's cooked out. It's very fragrant. We'll taste it. It's sweet. It's got all the funkiness from the fish sauce that's reduced down. Got a little bit of heat. It's a really good batch of satay. So we'll just let this cool down completely and then we'll store it. Now you know how to make the oils. What do you do with them? There's definitely certain recipes that will call for each one, like Bun Bo or Goi or different things like that. Beyond that, you can use each one in kind of the same way. If you have some fried rice or stir-fried noodle, you can just put a little bit of whatever you prefer at the end to really kick up the flavor. You can put it inside any soup that you want. It's what I got here. I'll put some shallot oil inside. Just kind of give it a boost. Put it on top of salads. Next time you make a vinaigrette, use some shallot oil instead of your normal oil. Next time you make Caesar dressing, maybe use half garlic oil and half olive oil. Or fry an egg with whatever oil you like. I'm using satay today. Once you have these in your pantry, you'll find yourself reaching for them often. That was really good. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.